Bianca, happy Monday afternoon.
Brownie matter.
Oh, it's very kind of you to eke out 20 minutes of your very busy existence to talk to, and I'd like to express my gratitude.
Thank
Mm.
you. It's some would call it busy. I would call it passion inspired and led. Grace led, in fact.
Fantastic. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, how many people get up every morning and love what they do?
Too few, Bianca, too
Yeah.
few. Like our work. Well, I think so. I'm speaking for you now on the rest of the world, SoulAdvisor world. It's about, how do we create a world where people do wake up and do what they love to do and feel that sense of love for themselves and love for the planet that just is exactly what you just said, passion. Strong
Absolutely.
passion. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because then, you never work a day, do you? You
Mm-mm.
get up and most people go, oh, it's Monday. I don't have that because
Mm.
one, I'm always doing something, something 7 days a week. But I go, yes, what do I get to do today?
Yeah.
Like that's what's so cool. And that's your topic's about
Mm.
grace, but that's really
Mm.
that's grace in 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 form.
Yes.
When you are on the path, when you are
Mm.
following the space that you are meant to be,
Mm.
then everything just opens up.
Mm.
Everything's flowing.
Mm.
um
Mm.
I don't often go, sometimes I might go, oh
Mm.
wow, I've got a lot of space next year, like
Mm.
a lot of space.
Ha
And if I realize that too quick, yeah, that's right, too quick, like boom. And so, but that's that grace when things are easy.
Mm.
When you're pushing against something and you're trying and trying, that's not your path. Or
Mm.
there's this beautiful poem, was written, I don't know, 100 years ago or
Mm.
150 years ago, called The Door. I'll send it to you after this. Have a look. And it's basically,
Please.
the poet is basically saying that
Mm.
while you're racing around trying all the doors that you don't have a key for, the door that you have a key for that's been opened for you
Mm.
will be shutting, and then there'll
Mm.
be no door for you. And
Mm.
so the way I look about grace is
Mm.
is that when that door is open
Yeah.
and ancestors are saying, hey, this is it, this is your calling, this is the
Mm.
space you need to be in.
Mm.
If it's easy, it's meant to
Mm.
be. But if it's just effortless,
Mm. Mm.
doesn't mean I don't get tired. But if it's effortless,
Mm.
then if it's difficult
Yeah.
and it's so hard and everything seems to be like you're walking through mud or against a
Mm.
stream,
Mm. Mm.
against the flow,
Mm.
it's not your space, or maybe
Yeah.
you're coming at it from a different perspective anyway.
Mm. No, totally agree. And it comes down to grace, yes, but as part and parcel of grace, it's that love of everything and yourself. And so knowing that path that's been put in front of you, that there it is as beautiful, as valuable as every other beautiful, valuable thing in this planet, which is everything, is and therefore totally acceptable and totally delicious and exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, and maybe your path is just the path, it's just the message that someone needs to hear. That
Mm.
one day, you know,
Mm.
that one day when you might just say something. I'll give
Mm.
you an example. I had this beautiful, beautiful
Mm.
Aboriginal woman
Mm.
send me a message and came up to see me
Mm.
when I was in an Aboriginal community and
Mm.
in South Australia, and she said to me, "I made this painting for you.
Yes.
This painting, that little tinsy blue
Oh,
one
the
there.
blue one,
Yeah,
glorious.
she said,
Wow.
that is you coming into my community and helping people to heal. I went,
Oh.
oh, wow. She said, because when I first met you, you said something
Mm.
and you were the only person that saw me.
Wow. Wow, wow,
And that
wow.
stayed with me. And to be honest,
Mm.
I couldn't even remember her. I
Mm.
couldn't even remember meeting her before.
Mm. Mm.
And she said, you are the person that
Mm.
this is the one. And I
Yeah.
know that maybe at some point there was something. I mean, I'd met her afterwards, like via Facebook
Mm.
and things like that. But
Mm.
she reached out to me, obviously because I said something to her, and I can't even remember saying that thing.
Mm.
But that's grace led. That's ancestor led.
That is ancestor led. And, it was you moving out of the way and saying those words through you almost, because the fact you couldn't, I mean, you didn't have a personal reaction to her. It wasn't you speaking to her. It was just the right words came through you at the right time to heal her.
Yeah, no, for her to heal herself.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Because we
catching
don't
me on
heal
that one.
anyone.
Thank
We
you for
don't heal
catching me
anyone.
on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We just might provide a space
Mm,
for people to remember that they innately know how to heal themselves.
absolutely. And all around them is healing.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I always associate with grace is that understanding that it's all here to heal you. You're here to learn, and learning is healing, and healing is learning. So, this is our place of learning. So even if it
Yeah.
feels a little tricky,
It's not just our place of learning. It,
mm,
the way I look about country
mm,
is so often we hear environment and country and that like we're
mm,
separate from the
mm, mm,
and when this living, breathing organism of life and it doesn't have a time. Either way,
mm,
there's no linear time. We've always been here and we always will be in some
mm,
form.
mm, mm,
And I think that's what happens when people separate themselves from that. They
mm,
realise that they think that it's in our humanness that is what drives us, but actually it's in our connectedness and
mm,
our uh, ancestral path, whatever
mm,
that may be, and in our connection with everything. Like at the
mm,
moment, I'm listening. I can hear the birds singing in the
mm,
trees,
mm,
and they have just been singing, singing, singing because a few days ago we had this beautiful,
mm,
beautiful cleansing rain, but not a heavy rain. It was just a
mm,
lovely, wash down the dust.
mm,
And it's about this connection. And
mm,
you feel the joy.
mm,
And we
mm.
aren't separate from that.
No, and it's not like there has to be any expensive measures taken to heal. It's just about being present right here, right now. And again, the simplicity and the beauty of the fact that this is our place of healing and learning and, and moving forward and in the same song as everything else is just that's the healing, that's the healing. That's the grace for me. That song that is all around us is actually, I think, if I had to put my finger on what grace is, yeah,
That the song is us.
yeah, through us, around us, in us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I met
Mm,
this beautiful, beautiful First Nations woman
mm,
and a lovely lady. And I won't say
mm,
what her
mm,
name is. And she said that she listens for the song in people.
mm,
And I just went, how beautiful is that?
mm,
I probably listen to the healing or the hurt in people and
mm,
then see their innate healingness,
mm,
see what's going on inside of them. But
mm.
yeah, she listens to the song. So it's interesting that you brought up song because yeah, that's cool.
Beautiful. And tell me, how do you feel that grace plays out in your personal and your professional life to maybe you haven't thought of it in terms of grace before, but if you were to think of it in terms of grace.
Yeah, so I would actually, for me, I would interchange grace with ancestors.
Mm.
So for me, it's the calling. It's the, that the thing that wakes you up in the middle of the night. The you might be. So the other day, I'll give you an example. We learn in stories, right? So I was walking the dogs because I'm trying to have my body as healthy as my mind, and I was walking the dogs because it's a lovely time for reflection, and I was out there and I was, mulling over something that's going on at the moment, and I went, I'm not really sure which way forward with this one, and then I just offered that to ancestors, right? I said, "Oh, can you just let me know here what's?" And next minute, this big warrior comes flying. So warrior is wedge-tailed eagle in my buddy my language. This big warrior comes flying. I just managed to get. I was like, and I just managed to get my phone out and record, and it was just soaring over me.
Wow.
And it was like, you know what? I'm a warrior. Like, warriors don't play or concern themselves. It was interesting that someone, then a thing came up on Facebook today, of all places. The eagles don't concern themselves with crows. They just fly up until the crow can't breathe anymore, and then the crow just falls off. Eagles don't concern themselves with crows. So I was walking along and I saw the warrior flying, and I always, people say, that they see those numbers, 222 or repeated numbers. For me, anytime I see a warrior flying, a wedge-tailed eagle, I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And that's grace. That's ancestors. That's that message. That's the bit where something feels really overwhelming, and the next minute this breeze just blows up. And the way I look at it, it doesn't just blow across your skin, it blows through you. And it's like, remember who you are. You don't need to concern yourselves with crows. Just soar your own way and your own path and with your own direction. And that's grace. That's ancestors.
That's grace. Yeah. Just do what you do.
Yeah.
And,
it was interesting. We were yarning about a quote that I thought up. Well, ancestors said through me, I would say. It was probably more the response. His grace is the quiet whisper of ancestors. Just reminding you of who you are and what your purpose is here.
It's just so important, so beautiful. This time last year, we had a series not on grace, but on eldership. And, part of a well-lived eldership is to be translating, to be that ancestral voice, but also to be bringing in and bringing through that ancestral voice to everyone else in the community. And it was a beautiful series, and it was so full of grace, of that older wisdom, that quiet knowing, that specialness, that special translation of the what goes on a deeper level, so that people can see it, and how that is expressed by wise people.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, I'm a co-author and author, and I've noticed my writing evolving as through the last few years. And the last book that I co-authored is just about to be released. It's called Hear Us Roar.
Wow.
And it's the Lion edition. Yeah, it sounds really powerful. And it was interesting when I wrote it. When I wrote my chapter, I went, there's this changing in me, this quietness. Some may call it's like an eldership, I can imagine, but I'm not saying I'm an elder in any respects. It's like this quietness to now hear us roar can be really quiet, but equally powerful. So it's like this settling in and this understanding about who I am, and that I don't need to justify or excuse when I get a message, or when I hear ancestors speak, or a picture to come in my head. You know, we've got this grandmother tree here on this property, and Gammy Winder, and I'm on Ghana country, by the way, and I'm absolutely honoured to be here, even though I'm a Buddy Mayan woman, Buddy Mayan Ukrainian woman. Anyway, and sometimes I'll have people to come here to do work with me in their healing space, and they'll be working with the animals, with the horses and the dogs, and I'll have a picture of the grandmother tree pop into my head. And you know, originally I used to go, oh, this might sound crazy, you know, and in the end I just went, and I'd be saying to the grandmother tree, like, come on, you know, they're here for like to work with animals, not to come and see you. And very, very insistent, quite distracting, which is on the topic of grace. And then I just went, hey, would you like to meet the grandmother tree? I didn't say, oh, this might sound strange. And they're like, oh, okay, sure. And that is exactly what they needed.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's grace.
Yeah.
That's ancestors. That's open to listening without, you know, excusing it away in wooziness, or in, you know, fluff, or this might sound woo-woo. No. It's about actually realizing that we are more than just our physical body, and so much more. This is just one part of who we are, and that's grace.
Thank you. That is grace for me too. And I feel, you know, so many people that we've had talking in the last week have expressed that in different ways. But that is grace, and it's like what I hear amongst everybody that's spoken this week, or we've had a chat about grace, it has been saying the same thing, and there's no more apology around it. You know, like, I'm old, I'm 60, I've been a therapist since I was 17, you know, like that's a long time. And I've seen the changes that have gone through, and I've excused myself for all the things that I've known to be true, you know, for all those years. And I don't do that at all anymore. And there's not the need. And actually, there's such a need the other direction, because at the moment, to heal is to become whole. And while we're excluding certain frameworks, then we'll never be whole.
But you know what? I have a slightly different approach.
Yeah.
That I say we're already whole.
Yeah.
All we're doing is we just covered it up in the muck of our experiences. We're actually already healed and whole.
Yes.
And it's remembering. It's the remembering of who we are that is the healing.
Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to ask you one last question. And I think
I could yarn about this all day.
Me too, and all night. So tell me, please, or for all our listeners, what are your top tips, your focus, what practice would you suggest for people who want to remember their wholeness, who are coming back to themselves and all that's beautiful?
Yeah, I would say go out on country. And I say country specifically, not environment. Environment is just talking about the trees and the animals and things. Country's talking about spirit. and the ancestral place, the beings, the stories, the song lines in that country, no matter what part of the world you're in. All right, there were always ancestral parts to that country. So go out on country and listen. So in Buddy Maya, it's called Ngāti Gawanda, and it means thinking, feeling, listening strongly. Another way for saying deep listening, it is listening with your heart. We need to actually remove our minds from this, because our minds control so many things and make everything logical, and listen with our heart and our whole being. Do you know what? If you stop and you allow yourself the time to sit in Ngāti Gawanda, or whatever word you use, or each of your listeners use, if we stop and listen and sit in that space from our heart, with our whole body, with every part of us, not just our physical body, you know, and we are unapologetic in that space and courageous. We look inside and we look outside and see how we're connected to everything. Then that's all we need to do. It is that simple. And it's how our mob have healed since the beginning of time.
Yeah. What a beautiful note to end on. We, all of us who live on this island, are so lucky. There's so much deep listening to be done, and not least to those that can show or teach us how to listen appropriately, with reverence, with respect. And we will, we're really lucky that we're so blessed with a direct pathway back to wholeness that is not lost, always was, always will be. And, even if you're not listening up, you'll hear it.
And and sorry, I just have to tell you another story. I know we're we're closing off, but one day I was in another place, and I was living there, and the universe or ancestors said to me, "I think you should move." And I'm like, no, I've got my house here, I've got my job here, my family's here, blah blah blah. I really think you should move. And something happened, and then I'm like, no, I can still work this out. I'm here. I really, really think you should move. And I went, oh, yeah, no, I'm still okay. And then it was like ancestors got a brick and smashed me over the head. Now you can move.
Yeah.
They took everything that I had. And they said, there's nothing holding you back now. It's time to move. And I would never have started this. I would never have stepped into the space of what I'm doing now. I would have just continued doing the same thing that I'd always done. And oh my gosh, the number of people that I have supported to remember who they are, to remember their wholeness, that would never have been there.
Oh,
so that's ancestors, that's grace, that's listening, and recognizing that if you don't listen, sooner or later, it's going to hit you in the head with a brick.
Get this.
What do you think now?
So grace doesn't always need to be a little butterfly, it's sometimes a brick.
Do you know what? I think grace is a butterfly when you listen.
Yes.
When you take that on and you go, wow, yeah. But when you keep ignoring it, and it's something really, really important, then I think that's when the brick comes out. And sooner or later, and it's the path. It's the path. And oh my gosh, it is the path that is your purpose for being on this planet?
Mm.
And I think that's the important part.
Mm.
And, you know, and if people could just listen to that quiet part that calls them at night time, or the breeze that blows across their skin and just says, hey, remember who you are. Or the nganawa, the cockatoo, the sulphur-crested cockatoo that screeches at you like, are you ready? Wake up, it's time.
Yeah.
Then that, we would have an amazing world.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to use your trick. We do have an amazing world.
Yes,
we just have to listen up.
It's already here.
Yeah, it's so here. Yeah, how amazing. Oh, thank you so much for your pearls of wisdom and your rich experience and your funny stories. Really, really appreciated. I'm going to press that stop record button now and say goodbye to everybody. Thanks, everyone. Yeah.